Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Dens Explains IT. So today, I decided to start creating a series of video for desktop development. This is a programming tutorial and luckily it's for free. I decided to create this because some of my colleagues and other students would like to understand how desktop development in C Sharp works. So yeah, without further ado, I think we should start the discussion. Initially, we will going to discuss three things. For the part one, we have winforms. Part one is introduction to winforms, simple call calculator app, and simple login screen. And then on the next part, we will going to have the MDI forms, MDI child, dialog box, and finally, we're going to discuss in part 3, login using database, user list, and user form. So those are the topics that we'll be learning in this particular desktop application programming series. So I think we can start. Alright. So as you can see, I pre-recorded the video already so that each of us will not be wasting each other's time. So before you do have some issue with regards to problem of my antivirus, so I'm skipping those part. So initially you're going to search for the WinForm app. As you have seen in the screen here, you could read also my instructions on how to do stuff. And then you have to make sure you select the .NET framework. Alright. And then, basically we will going to name it as employee app, since this is going to be at the end of this application or this series, we're going to create an employee repository desktop application or inventory record system. Sorry, employee record system. So if you click on next, then you are going to see the actual form. And then as you have seen here, we're going to discuss first the login, the different items here. You have going to discuss label, buttons, and text box. We're going to add that to the form. And yeah, before doing that, we could go to right click, go to properties, and then we can change some of the background of this. I think that's the first thing that I'm going to do here. I'll try to change the background, so pwede nyo naman baguhin yung background nyo. Or you could also change different properties from the property window. Again, how to go to that? You just have to right click the window or the form and then go click on properties, and then this particular window will appear. Technically could change the title also here which is part of the text property. I'll change that later, I think. And then first, let's try to change some of the background. Here in this particular video, you will see that as we go along, changing some of the background of the form. You could do that, and yeah, depending on your mood or depending on the requirements of your clients. Like for example, the clients requires you to have a red background. You don't have a choice but to follow them. But technically, the most common background is gray or light gray. So we can start with that. Okay. And then, as you can see here, you could go and have a custom color. And then again, I would suggest you stick with gray or light gray. That would be much better. Okay, so now I'm done with it. I can go back to the properties again, right click and then properties. And then let's try to change the name of the form. I'll change it, I think, to form initial. The name of the form is very crucial to some application that do have a lot of forms already. I think we're going to see the value of that in the near future. But for now, I change it to initial form, and then we also change. I have also changed, of course, the caption of the title, which is text property, and then let's run it for the first time. And then what we'll be seeing is the actual form that we changed the caption already, or the text property of the form. Now let's add the basic components, which are label, text box, and buttons. Let's do that. And then here you're going to see that I'll be changing the property as well for these. By the way, just to discuss stuff, text box, label, and buttons, they all have the same property to change the value of the text, and that is a text property. So the label has a text property wherein you can change the value of it. The text box has the same property as text, and the button also have that property. By the way, the name of the button is different from the text property. The text property is the one that you're going to see in the button, and the name of the button is the object name of the button that you're going to use to manipulate data or manipulate the code within your desktop application. We can see that later, and I'll be discussing that in full details in the future video. And let's resize the form, and then after everything has been done, I think we could add another label, because the main goal here is to just a simple form manipulation wherein we will going to input a value in the text box, and then whatever value you're going to input in the text box, you have to display it in the label below it. And this is the actual display: hello name, welcome to my first app. Alright, so to do that, we'll just have to double click the button. Of course, we're going to we're going to rename the label to make it label display message, so that will be the name that we're going to use to access the text property when we click on the button itself. When you double click on the button, the default event that will be handler that will be created is the click event. So here, when you, as you have mentioned before in my previous tutorial, you can have a click event, and I already discussed that before. Here you could simply say label display message that text, and then copy the entire text, and then there's a shortcut here wherein you could replace the name with text box 1.text. And to do that, you simply have to place a $sign at the beginning of that string, and then you will use the curly brace to represent that variable or the value that you would like to display. Like for example, in this one, it is going to be text box 1.text. You just have to enclose that in curly braces. This is a shortcut instead of using concatenation using plus sign. But again, you are not hindered from doing that as well. So let's try testing this application now. You type indents and click on submit. And then as you can see, the message I've shown. So we have successfully created an application and we have successfully manipulated it. So this is the part 1 of my tutorial for the desktop application. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a calculator app wherein we can manipulate more stuff like in the plus, minus, etc. And then and if you like this kind of video, please don't forget to share, subscribe, and of course like this video. By the way, thank you for all, and please wait for the next video. It will come up soon. Thank you very much.